give that vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno. Beat LA. Hey, Crown Downtown, shout out to them. The traveling group of Kings fans. They are in LA for tonight's game. I saw that on the X. So if any of you happen to be enjoying an adult refreshment right now in Los Angeles, getting ready for this one, have a great time. Represent well. Can't wait to hear you say light the damn beam. We've got a lot to talk to. And by the way, we need to make a quick correction really quick. I know there's more important things, but on last post-game show, y'all said the Luke Laux news that he would not be on the bench was announced and confirmed. No, it wasn't. That's why Grant and I had not heard that he would not be on the bench. Luke just now, earlier, announced officially as the coach of Florida State per Jake Gordon. Is it Jake Gordon? I think it's Jake Gordon. Yeah, Jake Gordon. So according to a league source, assistant coach Jim Morgan will replace Luke Laux on the front of the Kings bench when they face the Clippers. Laux was named the head coach of FSU earlier today. So there you go. No official word on who will replace Luke for the rest of the season. But as of today, Luke will not be on the bench. More important things to talk about. Kings, Clips, your takes. No Sabonis, no Monk, no Ben Simmons, no Norman Powell. How does that affect things? First time you're going to see Kawhi Leonard. We get into it on the other side. Welcome in to the pregame show here on If You Don't Like That.
Late nights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away.
Kings in our blood, we ride loud and proud. What's up, everybody? Ryan in Sacktown getting you ready for the Kings and the Clips. How we feeling tonight? Get you in on the action. You can call the show. You can also text the show. Hey, Kim, you're still watching. Welcome to the show, Kim. Hope you're having a great Sunday, Kim. Love that you are the first commenter there, right? What's up, Dennis? How you doing today? Tony, I'm with him. Let's go Kings. Clippers 6.5-point favorites tonight with no Ben Simmons, no Norman Powell. Kings still without Sabonis and Monk, as we talked about. Yeah, Sabonis probably 2 more games. Both of them worked out yesterday. Both, I don't believe, are in L.A. Sean Cunningham reporting that. Doesn't make sense for him to make the trip, especially with the Kings back in action tomorrow against New York with a quick turnaround, very quick turnaround. Luckily, though, it's New York without Jalen Brunson. So let's get into it. The Kings 7-3 in their last 10. Nothing to really complain about there for the most part. Very happy with the way they're playing. Zach Lavine really coming alive. We get this one past us finally. The Kings and the Spurs, although it got a little bit closer than we would have liked in the fourth quarter, maybe would have been better for some of the starters to get some extended rest. All good. The Kings get the victory. Yeah, if you guys want to talk about the quote-unquote altercation, I'm open to it. Jay, we're not talking football tonight, so I don't need to hear about DK. We can hit that at another time. But as we sit, you see the playoff hunt right there. The Kings actually only 2 games back right now of that 6th seed behind the Warriors. Really important game coming up with the Warriors. here in a couple of games. So we'll see. Big Bad Knicks fan, what's up, my man? I'm afraid to play the Kings tomorrow. They're playing better, and Brunson is out for a few weeks. We'll see. We're worried about this one. That's for sure what we're worried about, because the Clippers have beat the Kings twice so far this year. And quite frankly, if I ran down a list of the teams in the Western Conference that I think the Kings don't match up well with, the Clippers are near the top of the list. And there's also a lot of injuries going on right now in the NBA. LeBron possibly out for a couple of weeks with a groin strain. Does that slow the Lakers down? Jokic today, I was watching the Oklahoma City and Denver game. Jokic fell on his elbow, his shooting elbow, in the first half, and it didn't look great. And I thought it kind of affected the way he played the rest of the game. I wonder if we're going to hear anything coming out. Yeah, LeBron out 2 weeks. So we'll see if we hear anything coming out as to that with Jokic. That'll probably be a little bit more slow played. As for games so far in the books tonight, or today in the association, I should say, that Oklahoma City and Denver game, Oklahoma City took care of their business. Games we're paying attention to, the Suns, they knocked off the Mavericks earlier, 125-116. Thunder, as we said, 127-103. Can the Spurs muster something up and knock off the Timberwolves? They are down 10 as we speak in the second half, and that's really what we're looking at West Coast-wise. Well, Pelicans, Grizzlies leading that one by 3. We're keeping an eye on that as well. To Coach Doug Christie after the Spurs game, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Here's what he had to say.
So first half, not the start we wanted, but solid basketball in the second quarter, 42 points. Nitpicking with them is 67 points in the second half, just way too many. 4 assists in the first quarter, not what we want, but we end with 31, and 30 is always my number. 8 turnovers. When you look at those little things, individual performances, Zach and DeMar and Jonas, spectacular. Keegan he's a monster. And Keon continues to do Keon things. Guys came in off the bench and added effort and intensity and enthusiasm. For us, as we continue to build, this is what I would consider a professional win. You go out and you just lock in on what you need to do. And if it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 20, it doesn't matter how many points, you just leave the arena with a win. So really proud of our guys.
Doug, we're seeing Keegan really turn it on here over the last couple of weeks. He had a rough shooting night the other against Denver, but tonight, again, 19-9. So how big is that for your team to have that third or fourth score?
It's huge, James, but I will even take it a step further. Like the ability for him to score, because he is such a good shooter. Then now you can see he's getting out in transition a little bit and finding ways to get to the basket, offensive rebound. But what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball is special. Like in my opinion, he and Keon are all league defenders, and they should be recognized as such.
Completely agree. You got to get both of those guys involved tonight. Maybe get them involved a little bit earlier than last game. Hey, Kim, look, I'm not going to play this game with you, quite frankly. Our community does a pretty good job of filtering people out that do this kind of crap. But when you did this on Friday, Kim, you got me to bite a little bit, and I gave you a response. She says these clowns think they're in the locker room or on the team and know what the hell is going on. We supposed to believe your innuendo and speculation. Kim, provide me again with one example, Kim. One example that we have been wrong. That it's speculation and innuendo, Kim. This channel, between Grant and I, has been ahead of the credentialed media in terms of the dynamics of this team, Kim. So you are starting, again, if you want to come in and keep spewing crap like that, I'll let it be. You're watching. All good. Appreciate it. But when you're going to call the channel's credibility into question, Put an example in the chat, and then we'll talk. Put an example in the chat, Kim. If you can't put an example, then I will block you because it's straight BS. Get out of here with that. You're just a troll, man. Go back to Deuce and Mo's show. Let's go Kings. Beat LA. Yes, indeed. You got to get this one tonight. I like how the Kings are playing. Now, the one thing that you cannot do tonight is turn the basketball over. The Clippers defense is really good. You think about putting together a team that would be perfect to defend the Kings. The Clippers are somewhere in that area. They can play big at times with Zubac. At times they can play small. Derrick Jones Jr., they're athletic. They're bouncy. A little bit more than the Kings, unfortunately. So Jeff Van Gundy and what he's done with that defense, by the way, the first time the Kings saw this defense was in the preseason, and it completely shut them down. But this is also the first time that they're going to see Kawhi Leonard this season. So that's a big difference. This is a game, again, that I go back to. You have to get all 5 players involved in this one. This cannot get into an ISO matchup. If this gets into ISO, the Kings are in trouble. And I know that's fair and true of most nights, but we need to see a Kings team. Hey, Kim, you know, was it speculation 2.5 months? Well, when Doug Christie took over, was it speculation, Kim, that I said that the Kings need 28 or more assists to win a basketball game? Why don't you go check the stats on that, Kim? 29 assists just last night, or against the Spurs, I believe, off the top of my head, Kim. Maybe I'm wrong there. Did I just give you an example, Kim? Get the fuck out of here. By the way, I was in Stockton last night checking out Mason Jones, also checking out Terry Taylor, who had a big night. We're going to be giving this away to somebody. Anybody want a Stockton Kings soccer jersey? It's pretty cool. We'll find a way to give that away to somebody today on the show, whether it's this one or one of our 3 programs that we will be running tonight. We had a great post-game show on Friday. My goodness, the last 20 minutes, hopefully you got to stick around for Grant's 20-minute segment from his show in 2014. It felt like it was today. Like he was talking to the Kings fans as if he was doing a show on the radio that day on Friday. If you don't know the context to it, it was after the Kings fired Mike Malone, Ty Corbin was taken over, and there was just not a lot of answers for the team, and Grant spoke up. Pete D'Alessandro came after him. Anyways, it was a timeless piece of audio, and you would have thought he was talking about this week. Re-listening to that. So go check that out. Jerry Reynolds with us at halftime. Looking forward to having Jerry. And then, as always, the post game, we get down to it. We are going to hopefully be talking about a win. The Kings needed to start. Hey, Kim, I said 5-2 out of the All-Star break. Guess what? The Kings started 5-2. Yeah. Now that's speculation, but that's called educated guessing. That's looking at matchups, Kim. That's analytics, Kim. Something I don't think you know about, Kim. Derek, if the Kings win both games, you have to keep JV in the starting lineup. You know, it's a really interesting proposition. I don't think you're going to see JV in the starting lineup, but as I watched earlier today with Oklahoma City and I watched Denver, it's becoming clearer and clearer. If those teams start staying or remain near the top of the Western Conference, and assuming the Kings end up in the play-in somewhere and they end up playing a 1 seed, a 2 seed, and it might be one of those teams, you're going to have to go double big. The Thunder started Holmgren and Hartenstein today. What would the Kings do to combat that? And I don't want to future cast. I want to make sure we're focusing on the task at hand. But if I'm Doug Christie, if I am Jay Triano, those are the things that I am looking ahead a little bit, because it's all but the Kings would have to turn this on their heads down the stretch. The Kings will be in the play-in. They will be there. So My guess is I'm thinking ahead of how we can start integrating some bigger lineups and getting some minutes on the court for these guys together. You're going to have to do it. Nice. That soccer jersey looks sick. Yeah, I don't know what size it is. It might be kind of big. It might be like 3X, but I'm sure you guys can find a way to use it. JV, Zubox tonight. Yeah. It'll be a good matchup. JV has done, you got to give him credit here. He has done a very, very good job of keeping himself out of foul trouble as of late. James Harden just had he had a 50-point game not too long ago. So you definitely have to look out for him. Mason, yeah, Mason pulled up from the logo last night to seal the deal. But the guy that I was there to watch was Terry Taylor. I'm telling you, if we're looking, I'm kind of looking past Mace, and I mean that indirectly. I love Mace. Mace is the man. That dude's energy is second to none. His personality, his work ethic. I love everything about Mason Jones. If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know that I am always saying great things about Mace. But Terry Taylor is the really interesting prospect to me. Terry Taylor is kind of that dark horse that I've been tracking. In fact, that is the guy that I've been tracking this season very, very closely, much like I was tracking Slauson last year in Stockton. Terry Taylor has enough size to where he can guard. He could probably guard a 4. He can definitely guard a 3. Now, the quickness you wonder about, but his ability to shoot the 3 ball and get to the hole as well. He's a left-handed guy. Think about if you're looking at him and you're wondering like what his shot looks like, it's somewhere in between a Zach Randolph and a Zion Williamson. Kim, I'm talking about the form of his shot. I am not talking about his game. So he's a guy that I think could help this team in the future. And remember this too. Mike Brown in training camp, I don't know if you remember this, he pointed out a couple of times how impressed he was with TT, as they call him down there, Terry Taylor. Terry had a big game last night, I believe 29 in the win. So keep an eye on that guy. Let's get PK up in the conversation. What's up, PK?
Hey, bad boy.
What's up, dude?
Yo, I think it's a big game. Like, I think this is like a really big game for Kings fans. We need to continue this momentum going. Like, my biggest feeling right now, like what I'm seeing is get the momentum going, get it rolling, and win some of these big games. For us, for Kings fans, for everybody around, just win some of these tougher games, especially when you're battling Clippers. And Kim can lick my balls. Thank you.
All right, I'm not going to go there. I appreciate the support, PK. Look, I have no problem with people, saying negative things. That's fine. Not everybody is going to like the product. I have a problem when you come at my credibility with no examples. No examples. And Kim, there was a really obvious one. I'll give an example. I was going to say something on the post-game show. I was planning to say something here today. I told all of you on the pregame show against the Spurs that De'Aaron's tribute video was going to be at the end of the first quarter. I misheard my source. I misheard them that it was going to be after the first timeout in the first quarter. I was going to clear that up and take responsibility for accuracy. Do you see how we started the show talking about Luke Laux and accuracy? We take it serious around here, Kim. So, yeah, get out of here. But I don't think we need to be telling her that stuff either. So, appreciate it. Thank you, Athena. Appreciate the good words. Chris says, I could use the soccer jersey. I play indoor soccer and our team colors are purple. I wear a Kings shirt, but a jersey would be. Well, Chris, it's like a 3X, dude. I mean, I don't have a problem giving it to you, Chris. I think the chat might agree with that. If you wear purple and a 3X fits you, I don't have a problem with that. Chat, you guys have a problem with that? If you want to throw your names in the hat for the jersey, then let me know. But I don't mind, Chris. If you do that, I love that. If you can use it, that's what I'm talking about. By the way, I had an extra courtside ticket last night to the game. Nobody bit. I was a little bit sad. I'm like, look, you can get some premium parking, lounge access, food, bev. Nobody wanted the ticket. Nobody responded. What's going on with that? Anyways, I agree with PK. This is a big one tonight. The Clippers, they are coming off of 2 wins, most recently 2 good teams, Detroit and New York. So Detroit, New York, 2 wins, most recently 105-95 over New York. Not a high-scoring team. You can keep this Clippers team under 115 as long as you keep Harden in check. I think that one of the tougher guys to guard is a Harden just because of the pump fakes. Now, if there's anybody that is in a perfect or better position than most to deal with those pump fakes and be used to them, it is definitely Keon Ellis. He sees DeMar DeRozan every day in practice. So I think that benefits him there. It's some of the younger guys, Devin Carter, who played a decent amount of minutes and played okay against the Spurs. Are you going to see the same thing out of him? We look at the Clippers numbers right here on the screen. Defense, again, that's their calling card. They're 4th in the NBA. And the majority of the time that they earned that 4th in the NBA was without Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, who is just a treasure to me, an incredible basketball player, a great person, SDSU guy, by the way. Happy to see him back on the court, but he changes the formula for them. So as we look at what the Clippers do well, what they don't do well, let's go through it. What stands out to you? I'll let you look at that for a second. I will tell you this. The Kings cannot turn the ball over the way they did. In fact, in the first quarter against San Antonio, the Kings had 4 assists and 4 turnovers. If you do that against the Clippers, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. The Clippers will make you pay the penalty for turning the ball over. They will turn it into points. Now, if I'm going to point out some bad stuff, I'm going to point out some great stuff as well. What about the second quarter from the Kings? Absolutely incredible burst for them. I thought that was a good bounce back quarter. I thought the defense, for the most part, last game was really good up until midway through the third quarter. Then it got a little bit sketchy. It got a little bit lazy. Derek, you're so right, dude. I've got to get that. Yeah, I've got to get that drop. For sure, I've got to get that drop. Well done by you. But let's talk about the positive. The Kings came out of the halftime break. They were 8 for 8 from the field and got a trip to the free throw line. That's the kind of starts that you want to see. And you know why they got that start? 1, Zach Lavine was on fire. But 2, the ball was moving. And somebody put, do you want to see Keegan be aggressive, and I'm paraphrasing here, and muscle somebody up today? Hell yes. That's exactly what you want to see today. Get some of those guys in foul trouble. You can get James Harden in foul trouble. The Clippers are not a very deep team when you don't have Norman Powell and you don't have Ben Simmons. So absolutely, I want to see Keegan be aggressive. I want to continue to see JV be aggressive. I like what Trey Lyles has done. LaRavia always being aggressive. But there is one thing that continued to kind of peek its head up, which I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. It's just a couple of things that need to be cleaned up offensively. But other than that, you really can't complain about the Kings record, where they sit right now compared to where they were when Mike Brown resigned and how they have played under Doug Christie. They are figuring it out on the fly, and I absolutely love it. Let's hear some audio from both Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan.
to come out, kind of get through that first quarter, settle in, and finish that Spurs team off?
It was big, especially after a tough loss on the road the other day.
Best regular season
Coming in,
game
knew
of all
the
time.
energy was going to be high playing against Spurs, with Fox coming back and everything. So, it was a perfect game for us to, bounce back at home.
Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much exactly what you said. Every game is so important, and I think we played really good in Denver. Obviously, didn't come up with a win, so the sense of urgency to be able to come back here and bounce back quick was good for us.
Zach,
Yo, Athena, what word got used? Athena, what word did I say? I'm curious. Did I say a bad word? I've been trying to be really PG around here. Let me know, Athena, because I want to be respectful. I really appreciate your viewership and your contributions to this thing.
obviously an emotional night with Darren coming back. I don't want to ask you if there was any more pressure, but did you feel some extra juice with him coming back? You're the guy that kind of replaced him. Did you feel any extra juice going into tonight?
I feel like each game you have to put pressure on yourself, especially with how tight the West is. But anything that you can take to get a little extra each and every night, we knew how important it was with him coming back in the building. So I was going to be ready.
Either one of you, towards the end of that game, they cut the lead down to almost single digits or whatever. What do you guys got to do differently to, stop that type of run from happening?
I mean, it's tough. It's the NBA, and teams too good, too talented. The game is about runs. How you sustain a run when a team make a run, and get out of it as quick as possible. That's the key thing you could take away from it. But teams not going to lay down, give up. It's always that extra push that a team going to try to make. It's just how we sustain through that momentum, and through that moment. I think we did a great job with that tonight.
For both you guys, I guess, DeMar, you first. As far as like integrating Zach into what you guys are doing here, you've played with him before. All these other guys haven't. We've seen like the results in kind of these most recent games, how the scoring, the efficiency, and all that stuff is popping. Like, what are you seeing in terms of like working him into what you guys do? And then Zach, if you could, maybe talk about your process and then how that's come along for you too.
I mean, I know from my standpoint, it seemed like just over the last couple of months, so much stuff that happened from coaching change to, a couple guys being hurt. I missed a couple games early on. Trade happened, having success, struggling. So now, with an established team, now, we had two of our best players out as well. It's something that we've been consistently on every single day. Whatever we get a chance to watch film, whatever chance to get in a room together, talk over things. It's a constant thing that we all trying to figure out together. It's tough, especially when you got basically almost a whole new team, didn't have training camp together. So much is different, so every single day is something new of us just trying to figure it out.
I give some of you a lot of credit in this sense. We have had callers that have called up. I think Dennis has been one of them. Maybe it was Tay, maybe it was Chang, but I give you a lot of credit in this sense. I am starting to open my mind to exactly what DeMar DeRozan just said, and what some of you, specifically, I believe Tay and Chang, have said, that we haven't seen possibly what's next for this team. And now I'm not trying to set you up for monumental expectations, but it's true. This team didn't have a training camp together. Doug Christie's on record as saying that this team would probably be doing a few different things if they had that time. So they're doing it on the fly, which makes me wonder, okay, well, maybe there is a little bit more to this team than we're giving them credit to. Maybe we're going to see some more growth from what we've seen over these last 10 games, where the Kings are 7-3 and playing really well out of the All-Star break, 5-2 out of the break. And a lot of that hinges on Zach Lavine, and a lot of that, especially with Keegan Murray. Great point, Mike. The threes have been falling. They're not taking a ton of them, which I'm still okay with. A lot of that has to do with the S word, an S word that popped up in the article from Sam Amick on Friday about De'Aaron Fox. It was structure. We are seeing some more structure to what this team's doing, and they're trying to figure it out along the way. This is slowly becoming one of the Kings' favorite cuts with JV in the post, and I give JV a ton of credit. JV has been working his tail off in transition to get down low and get position on his guy. More times than not, he's getting it. And to the Kings' credit, they're not trying to force the ball into him as they were when he first came to the team. So here's what the Kings are doing a lot of. What happened here is this was Jake LaRavia right here, okay? You see Jake right here, though, in the 33. Jake is coming off these little screens. So you have JV who's posting up, and Jake is doing these little curls right around JV, just like that. They're rolling through here. And if that cut's not there, then it gives Jake two options. He can either come set a screen here for Zach Lavine that comes up, or you can come do a back screen on 4 and bring Keon on the back door. So here's what I was going to point out. That's an action you're going to see a lot of tonight. This was one time where the play got blown up. What happened on this play is Jake LaRavia did not come off JV's shoulder, meaning you got to really come off that screen and rub shoulders with him when you run by. So since he didn't do that, now you have a mess of spacing right here. You've got a ball of players, and it takes you down to the shot clock with 12, 13 seconds left, maybe 14 if you're lucky. And here's the other thing that I will challenge you to look at. The Kings are picking up the basketball sometimes in all the wrong spots on the court. Here's an example. Had JV been open off of this LaRavia cut, had this been clean, there's no way Devin Carter can make that pass from where he's at right there. There's just no way that you can do it. That's either going to get picked off, deflected, and to the point, and to the Kings' credit, defensively, they've been getting their hands up more. We talked about that after the Denver game. They have their hands up. Last game, there was a deflection where I believe it was Keon Ellis had his hands up, and he wasn't even looking at the ball. He was running away from the play, but because he had his hands up, he got a deflection, which turned into a steal. Now, that leads me into the next play that I want to show you really quick. And it's another example of these guys just still trying to kind of figure it out. How are we going to play together? How do we do this? The Kings were in a really good set, and you have great post, not really great post position, but you have JV who's getting fronted. And Zach Lavine, who had the ball, obviously right here, Zach, instead of swinging the ball, which you would want to do, Zach started off right here. You see that JV is fronted. There's no way to make this pass, right? Zach Lavine takes the ball, and as you can see, he dribbles himself into a double team. He dribbled himself into a double team, into a corner right here, which you don't want to do. So as this team continues to gel and get a little bit more time together, I expect you're still going to see a few of these things, but I expect some of this to get cleaned up. This is basketball 101. You just don't dribble yourself into a double team like that when a guy is fronted. But again, they're learning. They're 7-3 in the last 10. I'm not going to hammer them too hard for what they're doing. I'm fairly happy with what I'm seeing from this team right now. So bringing you back in, getting you ready for the Kings and the Clips. Let's go back to the chat really quick. Judd, what's up tonight? I feel like Lavine has been moving his feet better the last couple of games and picked up his defensive intensity. You know what? Zach's problem, if you watch him defensively, to me, isn't so much that he's just a bad defender. It's the angles that he takes. Sometimes he just takes bad angles. Sometimes it happens offensively. I don't think it's been an effort thing The effort's been there, and Zach's one of those guys. Get your hands up. Just get your hands up. It makes the next pass that much harder for whoever you are defending. And it does make a little bit of a big difference. Yes, Zach definitely confuses me sometimes as well. Flores, good question by you. What is the matchup of the game tonight? You know, you could go a couple different ways. You could say Zubox and JV. You could say Keon and Harden. Man, that's a good question. What do you guys think the matchups of the night's going to be? That's a very good question. I want to think about that for a second. Well done by you. Very, very good question. I'm with you. You got to hammer him tonight. Murray on the board or on the beard. Is he growing a beard? I did like the stare down that he had last game. Play together, chemistry, less reputation switches, please. Look at PK talking high level basketball here. I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, so far. I would expect. Hold on. Do I have a sound drop for like reckless speculation? Let's see. Can I play something that is along the lines that let you know this is a reckless piece of speculation? How about this? Ma the meatloaf. Okay, Ma the meatloaf. That means I'm going to be reckless and speculate. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to probably shut it down sooner rather than later for the season and have that finger surgery. So the thing about the trade, and we talked about it I think it was last show, or it was an open forum on Thursday. Grant and I talked about it. You're not going to be able to grade this trade out for probably at least the earliest you could grade it out would be the next trade deadline. And here's the other thing to remember. Fox has been very, very reliable for the most part. Zach Lavine historically has not been. So let's hope this continues what we're seeing with Zach. But if it continues this way, yeah, certainly could feel like you win that player matchup. JV actually get the jump balls. Dude, JV's been a baller. I really like it. Wow, this team is so much better hitting threes. What team isn't better hitting threes? Why was De'Aaron not fine with playing under Doug? So what? Doug's always been on the coaching staff in 22-23. Look, can we take one thing out of that article? If there's one thing that we can take out of that article, if Mike Brown is still here, many of those same problems are still going on. Right? There are 3 players that didn't want Mike Brown to get an extension. 2 are still on the roster. So I don't know that it changes the outcome of where the Kings and De'Aaron Fox were headed. I don't know that keeping Mike Brown means Fox signs an extension and he stays in Sacramento. And I certainly don't know if that would have been best for this team either. There were a lot of variables when it came to that. You know, I tell me where you stand. I don't think it changes a lot. And I think that's why everybody is so excited right now, because what you've been hearing over the mainstream media for the last week and a half is, oh, well, should we blow it up? Should we go all in? What should we do? Would the Kings fans be okay with blowing it up? And right now you're seeing a somewhat competitive product on the court, a successful product, 7-3. I can't underestimate the biggest thing that you did at this trade deadline was JV. JV was way bigger to me than the Lavine acquisition. because I feel like the Kings, the numbers bear out that the Kings could have gotten by without Lavine, but imagine the Kings without Sabonis and having Alex Len or Trey Lyles being that backup center right now. JV has been everything to the Kings since the deadline. He just brings a different element, an element that many of you have been asking for. And as for the 3-point shooting and defending the 3 ball, the Kings are starting to pack the paint defensively a little bit less now that they have JV in there, which I think is driving down some of those 3-point attempts. So there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Let me know about your matchups of the night. I'm still going to get back to that. Gavin, what's up? If Kawhi guards DeRozan or Lavine tonight, Keegan will go crazy. Yeah, I don't think a lot of the high-level coaches in this league take Keegan for granted the way that some fans here in Sacramento do in terms of what he can do offensively. I think they still respect that, and they have to respect that matchup. And that's why, to me, if you want to be playing the best basketball, sure, you can distribute more shots to Lavine. You can distribute more shots. Let's get Foxy off the page. You can distribute more shots to DeMar, but you have to also have equal distribution among the other guys that the analytics and stats say can produce. You just do. And that means Keegan. That means Keon. When that happens, even to a degree, Trey Lyles, when that happens, this team is playing at their best. It's undebatable. You can't debate it. Look at the first quarter in Denver in the shot distribution there. And that included, I believe, 5 shots for LaRavia. That's usually about 4 more than you would expect from him. So what are your final scores, by the way? We got to start to get you out for this one. Keegan is an all-NBA defender. Don't disagree there. No, I doubt. It's too early, Bop and Run. It's way too early. And you also have to remember this. Devin Carter is being asked to play out of position. That's the problem. He's not a point guard. He's not. He's like a tweener, just like Davion Mitchell was, just like De'Aaron Fox is. They're not point guards, but they're being asked to play point. Same thing with Malik Monk. If you're just joining us, no Malik, no Sabonis. Also for the Clippers, no Powell, no Ben Simmons to even things up. Let's see. San Antonio's announcers said JB looks like a supersized Travis Kelce. I can see that for sure. 175, 174, 3 OTs. Love it. That's so good. I love it. I'll acknowledge that.
Acknowledge me.
Oh, did you guys? So I had been talking about this, by the way, on the post-game show. Anytime lately somebody asks Grant about what the Kings have done lately, you know what Grant's response is. Well, look at who they've played and who they have. So I told Grant, I'm like, dude, I shouldn't say dude, boss. I'm just going to record you one time while you're talking and answering that question. The next time you're asked that question, just take 15 seconds off. I got you, partner.
The next 5 games, okay? And then they'll resonate with me a lot more than the past games. I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. You played 2 teams that don't give a damn about the year in Charlotte and Utah that have pretty much quit. You played a Dallas team where Kyrie got hurt.
So there we go. We got Grant on the soundboard talking about the quality of the wins. Devin was getting run in Stockton. And I'll tell you what, I think that run in Stockton. Oh, by the way, Kim, if you're still here, before Devin got assigned to Stockton, I talked about how being assigned to Stockton would be the best thing for him. And that's when the Kings were thin on point guards, Kim. And it was kind of a weird thing to say, send your first round pick to the G League, your lottery pick. And guess what, Kim? They did. And now Devin's back right now with the team. He was not in Stockton last night. Devin looked more comfortable he looked more comfortable on Friday. Now, whether that was a little bit of familiarity with De'Aaron's game, possibly on the defensive end, but Devin looked a little bit more comfortable, not nearly as sped up on offense. I just think that somebody, and I'm sure they are on the coaching staff, just reminding this young man, go out there, do what you are wired to do defensively. That's natural. He knows how to do that, and let the offense come to him. The Kings don't need Devin Carter to score 30 points to win the basketball game. They don't. But that could happen if he gets comfortable and lets the game come to him. Thank you, Judd. You remember that. LOL. Good investment. Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Come on. Rich Kings 112-106. Again, I can't underestimate, as I said at the start of the show, how difficult of a matchup for the Kings this one is tonight. They're 0-2 on the season against the Clippers. They just don't match up well. And by the way, the Kings have gotten slow starts when they have played lately in LA. So let's hope we see that different tonight. You now have a little bit more of an answer for Zubac, so that is good. Kawhi Leonard will be there. So expect a good, confident version of the Kings. If you're going to get one of the two, this is far more important. I said the next 4 of 5 games, 4 of 5 were the most important games the rest of the way. We've already won one in San Antonio. Tonight is the Clippers. Then you get New York. Then your next most important against Golden State comes up. And then the 4th of those most important games finishes out that stretch with a matchup with Phoenix. So we get you out to the game. Don't forget Jerry Reynolds right here at the half with us. Looking forward to talking about a good first half in Sacktown. Athena, hit me up. I am curious about what word got said. What word is icky? Anyways, go Kings. Light the damn beam. We'll see you in 24 minutes with the one and only Mr. Jerry Reynolds. Have a great first half.